Anything since 12 hours ago?
Who's starting for you tomorrow?
We'll decide that right now. We'll go ahead and let you know Miguel's going to start. Okay, I'm going to talk to him here in a second. Just want to make sure we have some things crossed, but I'll talk to him before you guys talk to him. I have an idea tomorrow when he kind of tests it, moving around, fielding, that kind of stuff, but you know, nothing negative that's regressive. But hoping that goes well tomorrow.
What about Nemo?
Same thing. Probably be I actually think we'll decide by tonight before we leave here about his status, whether he plays, doesn't play for a day or two, or goes on the IL. That's really our options.
What about Jankowski?
What about him?
Is he on the roster?
Yes. I guess I can say that. Just did. We got a lot of spin on my. Well, I'll let you ask me. What else? Who else?
I guess what made you want to
Walker.
go with Miguel? Yeah, Walker. Sure.
He feels good today. We'll see where that is, but so far so good there. What now?
What made you want to go with Miguel for?
I fit him. It fit where he was in pitch count. Just not necessarily pitch count, but his workload and experience factor. The good thing is we had some guys to pick from. And if we have to do something with Max or Ty, we got some directions to go. We got 3 or 4 guys there. We feel comfortable running out there.
Buck, I know you've been doing this for a long time, but based on the past 4 or 5 days that you've had, did you ever just sit there and go, whoa, that was a lot in the past 4 or 5 days?
I'm surprised it took so long. I told everybody when one happens, you always know something else coming. So it's part of it. Everybody's been dealing with it in spring. Just nobody wants to hear you complain about it. And we're not going to. Part of the gig. It's like I told the coaches, it's why we're here, and robots aren't running the game. Your relationships and the what ifs and the things you prepare for, and all the things that go into it. And the I don't want to say culture, but just the atmosphere you keep through these things. I look back at some of my playoff teams that what we broke with and what we played in the playoffs with, whether it be a Flaherty or a Pierce or a Caleb Joseph, we'd like to have had leaders and Chris Davis and Machado playing, but we didn't. I mean, what are you going to do? You think they care over there? What's your problem? They don't. They got enough of their own. So, I don't know. I look at the positive side. We get Jake back, with a full, healthy, ready to pitch as deep as we can take him, type thing. And he'll be there for all these doubleheaders start piling up. We're going to really need that later on. Same way with all the guys. It's not if, it's when. We don't have any, that won't return yet.
You mentioned some of the past problems you've had, whether it was the Orioles
Everybody does.
or wherever. But I mean, fun's not the right word, Buck, but do you like the challenge of trying to make it work when you're missing pieces or?
Of course you do. Everybody does. I mean, that's why and if it doesn't, it just,
Does that just file under managing? I mean, that's part of the definition, I guess, right?
It falls underneath the general manager, front office, minor leagues. It's where you really feel like a cohesive group, talking with Kevin Howard and the AAA and AA managers before they left, and Dickie Scott, who's kind of running a lot of things down there, and coordinators. This is why we work. It's, I think one of the greatest titles of any book I've seen is Men at Work by George Joy. That's what it is. That's what you do. It's the one thing that you can't sit there and go to okay, this happens and we got to do this. It's not. You got to know your players. You got to know their personalities. You got to know the people that are feeding you the information. There's a lot of things that go on, and there's some things that and that you just don't make complete public. You don't tell all truths that hurt innocent people. You're trying to get to the end game. It's not lying. We're not going to do that, but be careful about what you put out there until you know the end game.
But sure.
Somebody hit me today with some tweet or something before I came out here about this has happened, that's happening. I wish they'd let me in on what they've decided for. We haven't.
With Scherzer, he's still got to do the fielding drills. Is that what the deal is? You want to take a look at him?
Yeah, it's whether he pitches Friday.
Yeah.
Later in the rotation.
Yeah.
Or we decide to push it back till after the off day in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Those are kind of the options you're looking at. I don't think it's keeping in mind it's a long season. And it's opening day, it's early in the season, but only if I remember if it's opening day in about a month, right? But you'll remind us of it, right?
Oh,
Hope I'm not getting sick already.
Where did you land on Degrom coming along for the ride for opening day versus staying back?
He had some things he needed to do there. They're kind of private. We talked about it. He would have done whatever. Thought it was a good idea for him to stay there, and he'll meet us there. He's got some imaging, different things that are going on, and you know, some private family things that he wanted to be a part of. And I applaud him for it. And he should do that
You said he'll meet you where?
in New York.
Oh, okay, for the.
Oh, he'd be there for opening day.
Okay, gotcha.
It's one thing to just think about it. He's around and doing this. Once he starts throwing, he'll join us. Okay, when he actually starts throwing and we know everything's healed. But you know, to be around, hey, how you feeling today? How about 10 minutes later? How you feeling now? How you feeling there? And Jake's not around like that. And I wouldn't want him to be through that because we all love him and know what he means to us in the dugout and on the field. I just don't want to put that. It's almost like a guilt trip to him. But I keep telling him, man, this is actually good. Think about it. We're going to abuse your ass when you get back. Kidding, but I said, just wait. You're going to go 10 innings every now. Wouldn't do that to
Is
me.
McNeil at second tomorrow?
Maybe. Depending on what we have, depending on Nemo. I'd love to tell you. Believe me, I just don't know. If I
Yeah,
tell you,
right.
then all of a sudden it changes. So, looking forward to getting our first advanced meeting now. Our advanced people are very nervous. But they have great information. Big thing with these things, just trying to condense it. If you put everything out there that they're aware of, you'd be so confused by game time.
David said anything about weather-wise, about what they might do? Or?
You know, I try to stay away from that. I do know from that it's gotten better, depending on which service you look at. I always try to look at the one that, depending on if you want it to rain, you need it to rain out, you look at the woe is me one, and then like dark clouds, is that the name of it? It's pretty ominous. But that was pretty positive, like 45 something. I'll take that.